All right, guys, welcome. Getting everything set up over here in my little control panel. It doesn't let me set it up prior to starting this, so I just got to do all the clicks real quick. As usual, having the question and answer section up, so it should be very visible to you guys. So a lot of people still joining. 273 people registered for today. This is week 38, the 38th week of these free webinars for construction. So thank you guys for joining, especially you that have been here for a while. All right, we got more people rolling in. What's up, Ben, Candace, Jeff, um, Peyton, Ronald? How are you guys doing? Eric? Okay. So I'm you guys got the email blast, and that's what you hear from. I accidentally reused the prior week's subject line. So last week was Anthropic. This week, since when I do polls inside of this, and I survey the hundreds of people that register for this stuff, I get pretty split. I guess results as far as people using ChatGPT versus people using Anthropic. Um, Something that's happened in the past week, AI news, if you guys aren't in here or you guys aren't a part of any of my like LinkedIn communities or the AI for construction community, is the government for the first time ever is starting to place restrictions on AI models. So it's the first kind of like hint of government regulation. Last week, we had 50% of you using Anthropic and 50% of you using ChatGPT. I know that I have some federal builders in here, and if you have any contracts active with the Department of War currently and you're building for them, the Department of War issued a notice to all people working on their projects that they can no longer use Anthropic. Like Claude is out. And what their reasons are behind this, I'm not sure. I just read the briefing and one of our users sent it to us because, Contracts Connected being a fully AI powered back office, analyzing documents, saving people time, they just need to know, that we weren't really relying on Anthropic, and if we were, we needed to switch away. And yeah, so I'm imagining some people are being forced to switch over to ChatGPT that were on cloud, which I know a couple of companies that have done this in the past 7 days. I think they have till September 1st to confirm that they are no longer using any Anthropic products. But yeah, so today's about ChatGPT. I don't know how much of that affects you guys. I thought it would be interesting news. I really think this is just drama between the government and Anthropic. If you guys followed the news around, Anthropic had a huge deal with the government. Anthropic's whole mission is around, doing things ethically. Maybe they didn't agree with some of the use cases that their AI was being used for, so they actually pulled the government's access off Anthropic, canceled their contract, backed out of their contract. And then ChatGPT comes in. ChatGPT gives the government an equity stake in them. So OpenAI, the government now has an equity stake in OpenAI. And they also said, well, whatever Anthropic didn't want you to do, we'll let you do it. So therefore, the government now works directly with OpenAI instead of Anthropic. And I'm sure that this mandate to stop the use of Anthropic is all stemming from, the bad feelings around that kind of stuff. So if you guys haven't been in the news of all, and that's not even about AI releases, that's just drama and politics around AI and what's happening with the models. But I thought it was important because it's the first time the government's really kind of flexed control over one of these AI companies for one reason or another. And that comes a week after the government actually shut down Fable 5, which we covered last week. So, um, ChatGPT has been behind Anthropic in a big way for most of the year here. Um, Anthropic's just been like killing it. Claude has just been killing it. They've basically eaten up a ton of market share, and they've been the innovators here. And they've been leading the pack much more than OpenAI has. Now, OpenAI and ChatGPT are playing catch up at this point in time. However, they're starting to release things as well. And I think they're pretty much caught up now, in my opinion. And we're going to go through that today and what new things are coming out or have come out or will be coming out, how they work, what they can do. But the theme here, as you guys can probably tell, is 2026 is the year of agents. 2026 is the year of putting it to work rather than asking it. So I'm going to get in here to some of these slides and wanted to reiterate that this time is for you guys. You're here, take advantage of my time. I put these presentations together to share my knowledge and share what I'm absorbing every single day because I'm in the trenches with this. I'm building a like we have fully autonomous AI contract administrator employees operating the entire compliance workflow for multiple large GCs, even some on federal jobs. So, you guys ask me questions. This time is for you. I know this stuff. I don't need to be going over this stuff over and over or spending time making presentations together about it. So this is for you guys to ask me questions and you guys to extract as much value out of me as you can in this hour every single week. So take advantage of that question and answer anytime throughout the presentation. I will stop and try to give you my best answer possible. Alrighty. So this is the theme that we've seen across, Anthropic as well. But I wanted to just reiterate that ChatGPT is shifting from chat to doing. It's evolving from that question answering tool to that powerful worker that can take on actual tasks. Shift is changing how a construction back office can leverage AI, moving insight generation to direct work execution. So this is going to be important because even if you guys have come to my previous Anthropic ones, even if you guys aren't in the back office, even if you guys are in the field, even if you guys don't use Anthropic or ChatGPT and you use Copilot, all of this stuff, the theories, the workflows, the how to set it up are pretty much remaining the same. So you can extract value from this hour here, whether you're using ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude, right? So let's keep going here. So let's talk about what's new. This has been the biggest week, past 7 days of changes to ChatGPT since its initial launch. The four new capabilities that directly impact your back office operations or your project manager operations or whatever you want to apply it to. I am an expert as far as AI happens in the back office of a construction company. That's where I really focus. That's the people I spend time with. My calendar is full of contract administrators, full of executive assistants. Like that, that's where I live in the construction workflow. So that's what I'm going to speak to. However, anything that I'm talking about is just a process at the end of the day. Take what I talk about, apply it to your process, no matter what position you're holding, whether it's a contract administrator or a project manager. Three features that have been quietly retired. So they actually kind of admitted defeat on a few things and they took them away. So we'll talk about that today. And then understanding on what to focus on, what to ignore, where its actual limitations still lie. We're going to get into that as well. All right. So ChatGPT Work. This is similarly named to Claude Cowork, but they're calling it ChatGPT Work. And if you guys download their desktop app, you're going to see it automatically default to ChatGPT Work. And that's going to work on your computer and access files on your computer. As you guys, know this, there's three levels to AI right now. It's chat, work, code. And code and work are the same thing. They're both using files on your computer, but work is a little bit more user friendly. It's that middle ground. It's like graduate, graduate. And then you can basically unlock everything with that code version. So they shipped it July 9th, which is, just 5 days ago now. So this is fresh. You guys are on the the cutting edge of this stuff here. It's capable of taking an outcome-based job and returning a finished file. So this is basically about, working on your computer. And yeah, we just want to make sure that we're giving it the right access. With great power comes great responsibility. So we just need to make sure that if we are giving it access to something, it's what we want it to see, what we want it to be able to control, and possibly delete. All right, capable of making outcome. And then we have work for extended periods, checking in for approval on critical steps. Same thing. So you're going to give it a big process. The power from work, coworker work, that's the step right above chat. The power there comes from it being able to first plan out its tasks and then it separately kind of takes them in bite-sized chunks. Whereas chat just like you give it context, you give it meaning, you give it a prompt, and it responds like that, right? Or it researches and responds. This work is going to think in critical steps to accomplish an outcome. And then you're going to be able to kind of like either approve it step by step if it needs access to something. You're going to be able to approve it, give it access always to this folder, give it access once to this folder, and so on. But work, it can go for longer. It can retain its memory better because instead of one long task, it's actually breaking it up into 10, and then piece by piece by piece, it's going to work out its 10 steps there. It's available on Plus and business plans, but not the free version. So, just so you guys know on that. All right, unattended automation, scheduled tasks and monitors. This is where you can start to unlock power. Okay. You guys should be thinking about what can AI do without me asking it? What can be done every Monday? What can be done every Tuesday? What can be done every Wednesday? What am I doing every week? And this was just shipped about a month ago. In as far as enabling automated operations, running on a schedule or watching for specific changes, checks connected applications, not just web data, and then it can ping you when something relevant has changed, reducing noise. So let's take this step by step here. Um, Shipped June 17th, so it's relatively new. Runs on a schedule or watches for specific changes. These are called triggers. Anything that you guys build that you want to be autonomous in this AI world needs a defined trigger. You have to be thinking in terms of when does the on switch get hit? And it could be when it gets an email, it could be when a cell updates an Excel sheet, it could be anything, right? When you add a file to a folder, switched on. Or it could be schedule based, right? So every morning at 9 a.m., every Monday at 2 p.m., any type of like trigger. That's what we're talking about. They now have triggers baked into this so you can kind of schedule things out. Checks connected applications, not just web data. So we've gone over for weeks and weeks and weeks now, connected applications. Connected applications are just, your connectors. You could connect it to Gmail, you can connect it to Google Drive. If you guys are willing, you can connect it to your whole file system on your computer, right? So it can check all of these different connected things and be triggered based off that as well. And it can ping you only when something relevant changes, like if your team has a Dropbox folder, a OneDrive folder, a Google Drive, and they add some documents to it, and you want to know anytime they add documents to it, instead of somebody having to like manually go notify you and they didn't notify you, and then they're like, why didn't you see it? Oh, you didn't tell me you put it in there. All of that kind of stuff can be automated. I'm sure all of you guys have different things that you wait on other members of your team to hand off to you at any given time. So let's talk about everyday tools, spreadsheets, emails, and files. ChatGPT Sidebar is now directly integrated into Excel and Google Sheets. Claude is also here. These used to be pretty bad, honestly. Um, Like the Excel sheets that these models were spitting out and still spit out in chat format were pretty terrible, if I'm being honest. Now with them being integrated into these tools, oh my God, 100x better. I've built some extremely complicated financial models inside of these Excel sheets for our business, you know. We're building out some stuff that doesn't exist in the marketplace and it's got a lot of complicated pricing needs, you know. We only at Contracts Connected, we only charge people based on usage. So if your AI contract administrator only gets 4 files, we want to charge you less. You know, it's all about how much work is this AI employee actually doing for you. And I had to build out some really complex modeling around this stuff to make sure, that it was healthy for the business to operate in this way, but still a great, amazing deal where someone can be spending the fraction of the amount that a full-time employee would cost, but have someone that works 24/7 that never forgets anything, that always is on time, that, never lets something slip through the cracks, that analyzes everything perfectly, that reads every single word of every single Accord 25 form endorsement every single time that is collected, that never forgets to track an expiration date, that always renames files correctly. Like that needed to be built into this financial model really in depthly. And if you guys haven't experimented with it, I know all you guys probably spend time in Excel. Go try it out. These sidebar tools, they're called add-ons. If you guys are in there, you'll look for the little square that says add-on. Add-on, connect your ChatGPT or your Claude account, and you can create some crazy stuff. And it's good and it's accurate. And that's something that's new here because before, man, these Excel sheets, these AI models were spitting out were like elementary or worse. So yeah, ability to send emails straight from a chat, integrating with Gmail and Outlook. So this is now, I personally have this set, so it basically will always go create drafts. Every morning I go in, I go check my drafts in my inbox. I see, oh, I created like 7 drafts overnight. What are these about? I can go read through them, and I'm like, okay, that's a great email. Yes, I meant to follow up on that. I meant to remember that. Tweak, delete a sentence, modify a sentence, and get it out. So I have it personally limited to only creating drafts, and I personally tweak and adjust and send every email that goes out of my inbox. Every uploaded file is saved, searchable, and reusable in conversations. So, this is key because now you're working on saved files and searchable things. And in a lot of ways, you can do this on your local computer. And the reason you want to do this and not just rely on chat is because when the government or somebody comes out and says, no, you can't use Claude anymore. Sorry. Like they're out. Go use something else, but just not Claude because we have beef with them. We got drama going on with them. Guess what? If it's on your computer, it doesn't matter. There's no ramp up, ramp down, switching costs. Man, we like if you're switching project management solution, if you're switching an accounting solution, heavy, heavy, heavy lift, right? But when everything is saved on your computer, man, boom, boom. Just point it at the right file or go search through my computer, figure out what files you need access to and let me know. Like it's as easy as that. Um, Support for shared Outlook mailboxes, including sending on behalf of them. So another thing, if you guys are using the Outlook ecosystem, which I know a lot of the people in this presentation are. All right, so let's talk about what they killed. So Atlas browser stops working August 9th. Export your data before then. So if you guys didn't know, I way back, I don't know, like maybe 20 weeks ago now, we did a full webinar on the Atlas browser. And if you didn't know, ChatGPT basically built a competitor to Google Chrome. It was a full web browser that was powered by ChatGPT. It was good. It was cool. I liked it. It helped. But I kind of became a Claude user this year. So I stopped using it, and Claude was able to do everything that Atlas browser was able to do, but it could do it in Chrome, which was a better user experience, you know. And Canvas writing service removed, replaced by new writing blocks. So ChatGPT has Claude design, sorry, Claude has Claude design. ChatGPT is doing their own design system, and graphic design, PDF brochure design, marketing material design, logo design, whatever you guys need to design, these models are getting really good at it, and Canva is not that good anymore. I'm sorry. It's just they're going away, I think. I don't know what they're doing, but their designs just are not keeping up in any way, shape, or form with what these models are able to produce now. So, therefore, I think it's just getting removed. And then we have Pulse and group chats are retired with functionalities merged into other features. So this was just about team collaboration here. I've gone into projects before, project history that other team members have used in ChatGPT. So that is also going away as far as like being able to collaborate with your teams. It's going to just a different part of the ecosystem. So there's a whole new ChatGPT app. And whether you're using Claude or whether you're using ChatGPT, download the app on your computer. Use the app on your computer. Don't use it in your browser. That's the number one tip. Like if you guys don't have the app on your desktop, go do it right now while you're listening to me yap about it for the next, 25 minutes. So let's get into this. So there is a new app. The new app is going to default into work mode. And what you'll see is you'll see kind of tasks. You'll see that you have the old functionality, but the old functionality of chat is like almost being retired. You're going to be like kind of chatting with it in these like little, I don't know what to call it. Like they're seeing chat is like a secondary functionality now. Work is the core functionality. Chat, which is all what we know today, is the secondary functionality. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of like get everybody over into this work area because so many people out there are continuing to just chat with ChatGPT and Claude like it's the old way. And they're not leveraging some of this stuff. So what are these AI companies doing is they're secretly like hiding the chat other places and they're making the default chat that you go to the work version. Now, why would you want to go back to chat? Going to chat is going to use a lot less tokens. If you're conscious about how much you're using and you don't have a big plan, chat, use it for the like rewrite this email kind of stuff, blah blah blah. And use work for basically anything that you want it to do. Doing happens in work. Doing happens in co-work. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick, I don't know if I can, let me see. I want to try to share my screen and show you guys the new app real quick. I know I'm kind of going behind schedule a little bit, but I figured you guys would like this. Oh wow, where is it? Here we go. Okay, share ChatGPT. Okay, so this is like the new app here. And you can see it's ChatGPT Work or Codex. Now, before this was just chat, and it was like, oh, I have to go to code or I have to go to work. But now it's all about work. And it wants you to be working in a project. You can use an existing folder. And keep in mind, this is a folder on your computer. This is on your local machine. You're giving it access to this folder. Or you can start from scratch here. Plugins, you can come in and connect all of your different, connectors, whether it's your Outlook, your shared drive, whatever it is. Computer use is going to be able to like control your computer. And then you have chat is now hidden up here, right? So basically, what you now have to do is if you want to chat, like this is defaulted to work, and you could see ask for approval, approve for me, whatever you want. You can control that its capabilities there. But let's say you want to chat. Guess what? Like you now have to come over here and it's like a little window. And you can open it in a new window, and they have these like kind of like abilities to control it. But it's interesting to see this movement. So this is a clear signal that they want you guys to be doing, not just chatting. And I think there's been this like, I don't know about everybody that's here on the webinar today. I think you guys are really advanced users if you're here, and you're trying things. But this is a clear kind of way for you guys to see this is the direction. And these companies are, whether we like it or not, kind of deciding the way that we're working if we're going to be leveraging this AI stuff. So that was just something interesting I wanted to point out inside the new ChatGPT app experience. It's brand new. They're really trying to catch up to Claude. They're calling this like their super app. It can do some really cool things in there. Go in, don't be afraid to go into the Codex one. You're not going to break anything. Go in there, try to, make a little page or a dashboard for your company on company metrics that pulls in from your drive, whatever you want. Connect it to your ERP system and then have metrics display across the company. Just do a little quick experiment in there. This is all about experimentation because if you guys experiment, you see something works, you're going to be able to kind of snowball from there. And that's what I tell people. Okay, so the shift from answering to working, this is all about that user experience shifting completely for you guys. The fundamental reason why AI hasn't fully optimized your back office yet, this again can be applied to anything, not just back office. So project management teams, marketing teams, whatever you guys have. And we're going to get into distinguishing a chatbot and a worker, why the difference is important to know, the single most important sentence to transform your results with AI. And then we're going to go into witnessing kind of some demo there if I have time, but I'm really taking my time on these slides today. I got so much good stuff to chat about. All right. So let's talk about why a lot of these companies are failing to really get value out of this. So most construction firms are using AI as like a smarter Google. They're still using it in chat mode, right? So ChatGPT is like forcing you guys not to use it in chat mode anymore by hiding the chat. And then if you do want to use the chat, it's going to be a little like box down in the bottom corner. You still perform the work yourself, and AI is providing information. So we went into this in depth last week and the week before. If you guys are having to paste in and upload a document every single time you want a COI analyzed, that is not leveraging like a worker. That is leveraging you to copy and paste something to give you an answer that you then go do something with, right? So it's just an information source at that point. The root of admin pain has never been a lack of knowledge. Like most admin teams or project manager teams, again, applies to whatever area of the construction company you guys are working in. It's not that you guys don't know enough. It's really just about the time it takes to do something. That is the rub. The knowledge is there. Like you guys know what you're looking for. You guys know what to do. You guys have done it a million times. You guys have seen it a million ways, but it's just the time to do. I think that is the pain, not you guys not knowing something. And that's where we need to really understand how to leverage this AI. Previous AI usage didn't genuinely free up significant time. And it makes sense that you guys don't want to continue to go back to AI. It's not ready, it's not there. But guess what? It's there if you guys are willing to invest the time to set it up correctly. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I use chat and blah, yeah, it was good, but not great. Like, go back and use something else. Okay, so chatbot versus worker. I went over this again a little bit last week, but a chatbot answers your questions and then waits for your input. The output's typically a paragraph or text or information, and then a worker is taking defined tasks and returning the completed result like a finished file. Saves the entire task, not just minutes of research. The sentence that changes your results. Okay, so stop typing questions. Instead, start assigning specific outcomes. Your prompting needs to be focused on outcomes. By the end of this, I want, an Excel sheet that's tracking this way and that way, and that analyzes a document every time it's put into this folder. Clearly define the input, the desired output, and the governing rules, guardrails here. So you're gonna see a file come into this folder. I need you to be able to switch on when that happens. Then, if in a perfect world you give me an output that tells me that you checked these following policies for these following limits, and and there's no expiration dates that have passed the expiration date. And after that, I need you to generate the tracker for me that or add a line to my tracker, whatever it is. Provide the actual file to process, not just a description of it. So it should be working in folders, not in text, not in copy and paste. So go get the file yourself, analyze it yourself, and then ask the AI to ask you questions during the process. So you're going to hold its hand just like you would a new employee for the first process. And then after that, it should be able to kind of do it itself, right? So you can instruct it to ask you questions throughout that. Have it. We went over this last week. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, especially because I'm running behind on these slides. But you could ask it to process a whole folder of insurance, watch as it applies specific rules, extracts data. It will show you its thought process. So if it messes up anywhere, you can catch it. Okay, work often fails because tasks are forgotten or fall through the cracks. So this is basically how to build this system to run without you having to prompt it, say, go do your thing today. I have a lot of things happening in my company. When I switch on my computer in the morning, I have like 15 agents that all start their morning routine. They all basically commingle, and then they build a dashboard for me where I basically say go, hold or feedback or kill on the different things that they are basically presenting to me for us to do. So schedule tasks, introduce admin that never forgets for routine checks. Monitors provide silence until something critical actually changes. And basically, what this means is when you come in the morning, you want something to be monitoring things. You don't want to when I first started building out these agentic employees, it was so much noise, guys. So I want you to see that, understand that your day should not become just reading. They will generate paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs of just noise. And cutting through the noise is going to be critical. The more AI agents and routines that you have going, imagine 15 different agents covering 15 different departments and the amount of data that they're all crunching through. I don't care if everything looks fine or if there's no critical items. I just want, three bullet points about the decision you need me to make and the guidance I need to give, and they need to be one sentence each. I want no more than that from each one of you guys. And that's been really effective for me because this can create a lot of noise for you guys, and you can almost start feeling like you're working for them. It's this weird feeling. I felt like I was starting to work for my AI employees that were kind of going out and processing information and bringing it back to me because it would bring back so much, so much, so much. And I'd spend my day like, okay, let me process this, let me read through this. Okay, like maybe go this way, maybe go that way. And I really needed to shorten it up because it was starting to just create work for me instead of just do work for me. Because I tried to make these things so autonomous that they could build their own processes, and they had enough knowledge to do that. But yes, you guys want to make sure that you're not creating noise for yourself. My recommendation on the layer that runs without you is schedule these things to run daily, weekly, whatever it is, but only bring information to you when it's actually needed. The work that fails is the work nobody remembers. We're talking about compliance here. We're talking about the back office here, but again, apply this to whatever you guys do. So compliance issues often arise from quiet lapses, not deliberate decisions. Examples can include, something expiring. The absence of a renewal can lead to significant costs months later. Human oversight is prone to error when faced with numerous routine checks. So this is basically like No one should have to remember this at this point in time. The contract administrators that we have working out for construction companies today that are fully AI, they don't forget, like, period. And they are coachable. They conform to your systems, the way your company operates. Like, this needs to be an employee, an extension of your team. Scheduled tasks. So this is how to counteract that. Everything comes down to scheduled tasks to really leverage the most out of work. Some of the leaders in this AI revolution, like the guy that built Claude Code, his whole thing is called loops. Loops are just another way to say scheduled tasks. So he has so many loops running that these agents are just like coming up with their own things to do, and he's just like saying go, 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 go. And that's what I'm trying to build for my company, and in the different departments that we have running. And it's getting better and better every day, but the key thing is you need to start with one, you need to start experimenting, you need to schedule one task, and it will snowball from there. So tasks can be set to run once, repeatedly, or triggered by events. And remember that word trigger. We were talking about it earlier in this presentation. Something needs to hit the on button, and a schedule is just the easy way to ensure that the on button is always, always hit. Integrating with web services in your connected applications, designed to run consistently, but no more than once per hour, provides genuinely unattended administrative support for routine checks. So, for instance, our AI employee agents that do the contract administration for companies checks its email and checks its contracts connected account every 30 minutes during work hours, and it checks it every hour after work hours. So it's just an example there. Those are loops, right? Those are things. It also is automatically switched on when it receives an email. So those are all triggers, and ours are all custom built. But if you guys wanted to leverage ChatGPT, you can do it once per hour maximum. Monitors are basically silence until something changes. So just think about this as a different type of trigger. This trigger happens when like a file is added to a folder. This basically happens when an email is received or whatever it is. So watch a source silently and only alert you when a change occurs. Transforms a continuous report into an actionable exception notification. Addresses the problem of inboxes overwhelmed by unread reports. So it's like, again, this is about cutting through noise. You can get in a really crazy place and build all these automations, but they're going to run your life, trust me, if you don't control them and you don't reduce the noise. So basically building a monitor from start to finish, you can have it watch a specific folder, define the rules for identifying expiring certificates and set a cadence and see an example. So where your admin actually is dying or where your day-to-day operations are dying or where your project management tasks are dying. So every operation commonly encounters critical failures in spreadsheets and inboxes. Those are probably the two like choke points of this stuff. I'm tracking something somewhere or I have so much to do. I didn't even get to my emails. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. And it's like in the back of your head, right? ChatGPT is now directly integrated into both of these core workspaces to help you. So you should be leveraging some sort of schedule or loop to at least help you process one or both of these kind of choke points. Identifying the key setting that might be blocking your AI capabilities, how to enable it. So like what's holding you back? What are you scared of? What are you not using it because of? And how can you remove that? And I'm not going to have time for any of my demos today, so I need to keep going here. But the spreadsheet, the AI, I told you guys earlier, ChatGPT Sidebar now lives inside Excel. Claude is also there. Use the add-on in the top section if you're in the Microsoft environment. There's an add-on box up there where you can search for ChatGPT or Anthropic and add in your account. This feature is available on every plan, including the free version, which is super cool. And with Claude, you can actually use Fable 5 to build out your spreadsheets until the 17th, I believe, which is in 3 days. This is going to help build clean, workbooks in their native environment. You're going to get a much better response or much better work from it when you're having it work inside the document rather than inside your mobile app. All right. So the inbox, the front door of your back office, the front door to everybody's position. So most compliance documents or attachments or drawings or submittals or whatever, they're going to come through your email or shared inboxes. And shared inboxes on Outlook specifically are now enabled inside of ChatGPT specifically to send on behalf functionality. AI can read, sort, draft responses from contracts at or type any type of email address, but I have everything in as far as my workflow goes, go into draft and I go approve and send drafts every single morning. Automating the tedious task of drafting and chasing emails for missing documents. So it's going to now place those drafts saying like, hey, you have eight contractors that are out of compliance. I've drafted all eight contractor non-compliance emails and reminders for what they're missing from what you're missing from them. And they're in the draft section if you want to review them. And eventually you can trust it enough to send it. Especially if it's coming from like a group account or something, I would trust it more. But since it's sending from my personal account, I don't want anything random going out at this point in time. I'm not gonna act like AI is further ahead than it is. So let's talk about the caveat why it might not work yet. So you want to write actions for a critical AI interaction with apps. This was shipped in March, but they're off by default. So you need to really make sure that you get into your application settings or into your connector settings and make sure the right things are connected. For business accounts, an administrator must enable these actions. So if you guys are on a company ChatGPT account, your system's not going to work for a lot of this stuff unless the company has it configured to be on. You're going to find this setting under the workspace settings, then apps, then manage actions. They should be able to allow you to do everything, even accept actions by autonomous movements. Many firms believe it's broken when it's simply just, this setting is off, and they're not getting any work done on any, like, they're not seeing value from it because it can't go work in the place where the value is created. That's really what it comes down to. And a lot of people are scared, and it's understandably so. Like, you don't want to let someone that's not technical get in there and just cause chaos, but there needs to be some sort of allowance or at least some sort of committee member that is able to do this, which I've also talked about in a previous webinar here. So a real world compliance spreadsheet, I would take any of your existing spreadsheets, make a copy and paste of it, and then see what AI can do to make it better. And let's talk about what it can't do. It's basically going to be um, a little bit of a breakdown here on each one of these items, but these are kind of generalist tools. They're not construction specific. So it is limited in some sorts of ways, but you can build around these things. That's the key about, working. What we're building at Contracts Connected is I know the limitations straight up. I know them very, very well. And I know what these users, what these contract administrators tell me every day that they deal with. And I can build that specific for construction. And that's what we're building at Contracts Connected. So there's no construction feature. OpenAI has not developed any specific features for the construction industry. You're building all this stuff yourself, right? The ship tools are general purpose. Their application to construction is your responsibility. No external entity is solely focused on solving your industry's unique problems that's like this open AI or this Claude level, right? So that's why I exist, right? So I'm building specifically for you guys, and for your companies. Like I my agent that I built, the contract administrator, there's no reason I can't go train it to go work in the project management solutions and the accounting solutions or like be applicable to service-based businesses. Like my agent just is trained, right? And I'm just training it specifically here, and I'm trying to cut out all the noise, just focus on what the contract team needs, what the back office needs. Where's this gap between project management and accounting? Like, there's this whole compliance, this whole gray area of all these documents and contracts and tracking and compliance and obligations. And I need to be just like, put the blinders on and focus here, because I can build this agent and share this agent with everybody and be a generalist. And I think that that's the quickest way to be nothing to everybody is try to be something to everybody. So I want to be everything to the construction team. You know, the back office team, I want to be everything to them and really build these employees to like really give them this like wow moment of like the first time they ever used AI. That's the moment that I look for when someone uses my contract administrator for the first time or contracts connected for the first time. I want them to have this like holy crap moment. So let's talk about where this like ChatGPT generalist is gonna like break the critical limitations. So poorly scanned documents can still lead to inaccurate data extraction, let's be honest. AI does not inherently know your contract terms. So you're gonna have to provide rules. You're gonna have to share information with it. The model can be confidently wrong. Always verify critical outputs. Liability for AI actions remains with your company, not the AI. And one thing that's important here, ChatGPT released 5.6 of its models. Hallucination has never been higher for it. You would think that the new model would hallucinate less, but it actually hallucinates more. And there's some interesting studies going on around why this is happening, but it's kind of disappointing. Anthropic did not have this problem, and hallucination is where it makes things up. If you guys ever worked with AI enough, you're gonna see, or you've probably noticed that. So be careful with ChatGPT specifically for those longer tasks. So I like to talk about this, I talked about company settings, but you can set this to read only. It can still do work for you and help you with read only access. You can then do drafts, which is where I kind of gate it, especially as far as my emails go. I just go hit the send button, go do all the work, the research, the reminders, the tracking, and everything before that. But just draft things for me. I'll do the sending. And then you can start to, once you trust it, open up its accessibility, give it permission. Okay, well, like if you're sending from the group email, go ahead, execute. Um, Full autonomy is kind of the end state, and that's what we built at Contracts Connected, our AI, contract administrator employee, where it's full autonomy, it's fully trained, it's specific to the industry, and it's just smart. All right. So basically, there's three plans. If you guys don't know, they're all very, very reasonable on ChatGPT. So just kind of like go experiment with one if you don't already have one. It's probably the best $20 a month you'll ever spend. All right, so let's talk about key takeaways. I have some questions, but ChatGPT transitioned from answering questions to actively doing work. This is new, July 9th. You guys are here. You guys are on the edge. So yeah, assign clear outcomes to AI. Define the input, the output, the governing rules. This is outcome based, not chat based. Build monitors for relentless attendance consistently outweighs the raw intelligence. Bottleneck for automation is how your internal processes are clear, not the tool's capability. I want you guys to all start small. A lot of people are afraid to just start. Just go start, man. All right. So some frequently asked questions that I've gotten across LinkedIn messages and our AI group for contractors, data safety and privacy on paid plans. So just go ahead and make sure you go to your settings and make sure that it doesn't retain any of your data. GPT Work in Microsoft 360 Copilot. 365 Copilot is not there yet as far as what Anthropic and Claude have been able to do. I'm just being honest. So that's why I use the add-on feature in Excel. Improvements in AI reliability compared to previous versions that made stuff up. Yes, this model is smarter. 5.6 is really smart, but it hallucinates more than 5.5. Ease of setup and the importance of defining your processes first. So if you have clear processes, you can build in these workflows much easier versus, oh, well, sometimes it happens this way. And if that happens, then I do this because I've been here for 10 years and I just know it. That stuff needs to be written down somewhere because you can't have it help you if it doesn't know. AI's role in augmenting, not replacing human administrative roles for all of your guys' kind of tasks that could be automated. And then recommendations for users only on the free plan. I'd say probably the biggest leverage for doing work for you is going to have it being living in a spreadsheet, but you can't schedule things. So it's going to be the best $20 you ever spend if you guys go upgrade your account to a paid ChatGPT account. I just can't recommend that enough. Any paid account on any model would be great. Okay, so that was 53 minutes straight of Zach yapping about ChatGPT. Is there any more questions that you guys have on this? Anything that I said, I kind of went off the rails a little bit. All right, if you guys don't have any questions, we're gonna end it early. Um, Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. It's my goal, to really provide value to you guys. This is time for you guys. If you guys have any questions, if you guys need any help, if you're interested in seeing, what is Zach building when he's not yapping about AI on a webinar. I do these out of passion. I do these because I'm passionate about AI. I'm obsessed with it, really. And I'm working every day to really try to move the needle as far as innovating in this space. I've built some really cool experiments, and we're actually finally taking those experiments, call them my Frankensteins, to market, and they're actually working inside some construction companies. So yeah, I'd love to show you guys more. Feel free to reach out. We can jump on a call. We could talk AI. I could tell you guys more about what's working inside some of the construction companies I'm kind of like hand in hand building with. But yeah, it's fun for me. And you guys are some of the best like people that I've ever worked with as far as users of a software goes. So yeah. All right, I got one question in here. If Claude goes down, can you just switch to ChatGPT? How does that work? So basically, I'm assuming you're saying, like, okay, let's say I can't use Claude anymore. Let's say the government says Claude's out. Can I use ChatGPT? And if you're using, well, I mean, yes, short answer, yes. If you're using chat, your chat history is going to be stuck in whatever app you were using chat in. Okay. If you're using co-work or work, the key thing here is you want the files on your machine. You want to own these files. Um, and if you own these files, you could quickly switch like that. Like I showed you guys the new project and it was like start from a file. I would just connect in the file that Claude was using. Say get up to speed on this, reorganize the files if you need to, if they don't make sense to you, so this works better for you. But the key thing is in code and co-work and Codex on ChatGPT and what they call work on ChatGPT, you're using files on your computer. You're giving access to files on your computer. And when you have the files on your computer, you own it. And switching is just as simple as pointing it to where the files are. And that is important. That is the way that you guys should be building with this stuff. So hopefully that helps. Um, and gives you a little bit of clarity or confidence there around that. Okie dokie, guys. I will see you guys later. And if you need me, you know where to find me. You can message me on LinkedIn. You can email me. I think my booking link's even on contractsconnected.com. Don't be a stranger, especially if you've been coming around for a while. I'm going to be honest, like I'm so underwater on some of these AI projects and we're building such cool stuff that, yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming. That this might be one of the last webinars that I do for a little bit. I am speaking at the AGC Tech Conference in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Wednesday, August 5th. So if any of you guys are going to the Association of General Contractors Conference for Technology, I will be there. I will be speaking about AI with a real contractor that I've been building in his, building an AI employee for his back office. And we're going to be basically unveiling everything and how it's working and answering questions from the crowd about it. So I've so much going on, so much good stuff. We have some really cool partnerships coming out. I'm gonna do my best to keep these going. But thank you guys for all coming, and I will see you guys next week.